Peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu Allah, peace, peace, shalom, hotep. I'm your beloved brother in the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality, Brother Minister Alifullah. And today we're going to cover an important but rare article by Messenger Elijah Muhammad titled The Truth, which was published on March the 29th of the year 1962. This is part 6. Now, I'd like to give you a little brief backdrop about this. One, this particular article, I got this over 25 years ago from a law in Muhammad Speaks. I was in the belly of the beast. Our beloved elders in the belly of the beast. And this is from Ali Mahdi Muhammad. Makes the truth plain. There are two histories of Fard, part 2. They published a law Muhammad Speaks over, I believe it's New Jersey. It may have an address in here. Let me see something here. This is from the New World Nation of Islam. Yeah, Ali Mahdi Muhammad over Trenton, New Jersey, in fact. Oh, in fact, shout out to beloved brother Born Unique. Born Unique, in a conversation, I remember him telling me, asking me, did I know Ali Mahdi? And I told him, you know, me and the brother used to build back in the 80s and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of myths out there, a lot of COINTELPRO sabotage, bad jackling, all that's in the struggle. But the short version, most of y'all heard of our beloved sister Assata Shakur. I personally was blessed to communicate with Sister Assata Shakur while she's in exile in Cuba, and she was telling me how the devils told her she won some type of raffle ticket, I think from a baseball game or some crap. And they basically was telling her to come collect her millions of dollars and all this other stuff. They was trying to lock the sister up. I mean, and it was a little, you know, wry humor with all that crap back then. But at the time, I was up to Supermax, you know what I mean, with my beloved brother and comrade and elder. For those of you that may not be aware of it, but back in the day, everybody was not a slave. You know, like black people had this dominant idea that black people were kidnapped from Africa, forced into the United States of America, and made slaves. You know what I mean? But the reality is much more complicated than that. White folks wish it was that simple. First of all, you cannot kidnap and enslave a conscious people. So the whole history that you've been taught for 500 years in this wilderness is a false narrative. It's a one-sided, you know, if the victor telling the story, of course they're going to get that version. But the game ain't over yet. You know what I mean? But basically, Russell Schultz, my beloved elder brother Maroon, JoJo Bowens, I'll be here all day naming all the giants that I sat at their feet. You know what I mean? Like me and Russell Schultz, Maroon, you know what I mean? We're closer than, you know, a man's jugular vein, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, we're up to Supermax, and we intentionally would go to law library together. So the way the law library was structured was, it's a little tiny caged, I mean, and it's like a gate in between. It's a computer on this side, a table, and a stool. It's a computer on this side on the table, and it's a stool. So they, they shackle me all up, shackle him all up. We come now, not as prisoners. We never was prisoners. I mean, we were revolutionaries. Now, I mean, we were resistant fighters. We were freedom fighters. We was in the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality. You know what I mean? And our oppressors knew that. They considered other people to be inmates. But those that knew self, the FOI, the 5%, the Pan-Africans, the revolutionaries, the Aryan Nation, the almighty Latin kings and queens, the Boricua, they did not consider us inmates. They knew, oh, these are the prisoners, and the reason they're here is because they're the uncontrollable ones. Like, we was up maximum security, greatest for it. They couldn't handle us. They kicked us out. They sent us up the most racist. They was killing inmates, burying them underneath the cow pastures. We went up there and put our foot up them devils behind. I mean, we went up there and put our hands in the mafia pockets. Black man is God. That's how we was moving. You know what I mean? So them devils kicked us out of there. I mean, they shipped us over to Pittsburgh. I mean, they kicked us out of there. They sent us up over here. They kick us out of there. Everywhere we went, we were happy. We was happy and proud to know our enemies and our friends. And when we say our enemies and friends, it wasn't racist. I mean, like, we knew it was I would say that some of our worst enemies was those bootlicking 85% wannabe 10% house slaves. I got less than 15 feet away from me. Let me just give y'all a peep of something real quick. You see that little line on the wall? That's a little cabinet right there. If I unlock that cabinet, go inside that cabinet, behind that wall in there, I would say probably about, if I would exaggerate, let me think about it for a second. I ain't even going there in years. I ain't going there probably like 6 years or something. But the persecution, the level of COINTELPRO. Anytime you have someone that's a minister of Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings, and while, like, I'm right here, less than a handspan away from me is the FBI, right there. Homeland Security, physically right there. The IRS, physically right there, interrogating me. Oh, what is this you're teaching? Oh, I like, come on, devil. I mean, you know you the devil. You know the black man is God. They like, the message said, trials purify. You know what I mean? I'm like, listen, you know what I mean? I'm in this for the struggle. So I used to pray to Master Fard Muhammad, the Supreme Allah, in person. I was like, listen, man, I believe that you are God. I believe that Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I'm willing to kill, build, and die for that. What I want you to do is this. I want you to turn hell all the way up to the max so I could go through that and show and prove that the black man is God. I mean, it was fun. That was easy. You know what I mean? But in there, I got, you'd be surprised. See, one thing house slaves don't understand is the devil used them to come after the poor righteous teachers, but when they have no more use of them, they throw them to the poor righteous teachers. So we got a beloved brother. I ain't gonna get into his name, but we in a situation, long story short, an opposition dude physically gets killed, all right, in prison. He dies. We're in a hole. We have They don't know we know law. See, we was taught by Russell Schultz, Jojo Bowens. We're taught by Mumia Abu-Jamal. We're physically with Mumia Abu-Jamal. We're physically with Big Amin, Bigfoot as they call him, Jabbar. Know what I mean? We're physically with Elder Rasul. Know what I mean? So I'm physically sitting on the floor. This is like 40 years ago. I'm physically sitting on the floor. I'm like 17 years old, sitting on the floor with an elder, FOI, Russell Schultz, my elder, my beloved brother, my former assistant minister. You know what I mean? He don't have a post at that time 40 years ago. I got all these FOIs in my ear. Oh, don't mess with him. He's this. Whenever you're doing the work, they're going to slander you. So Minister Jeremiah Shabazz, my minister in Philadelphia, Temple number 12 down North Philadelphia. They had a situation. I'm going to leave it at that. The situation basically was like they had real estate in the city, and a tenant refused to pay his rent. Long story short, he cursed him out. I ain't paying after this, boo, bang. They like, all right, well, you getting evicted. I mean, you getting out of here. He comes to the temple. He comes to Muhammad's temple number 12. People don't understand. Back then, the streets, the 85%, they gangster. I mean, them dudes, the JBM and all them came in temple number 12 in Philadelphia back in the day. You know what I mean? They would not have came in temple number 12 if we was there. We don't play certain stuff. Now I mean, you know, like no, I mean, game over on that type of stuff. Now I mean, but at the time, COINTELPRO was working from within and from without. Now I mean, but they came in temple number 12 under Brother Minister Jeremiah Shabazz in the resurrection of the Nation of Islam. This is when Minister Farrakhan ain't had no temples. There was no temple number 12 in Philadelphia. They had a study group. Brother Minister Eric X. Belly was the hardworking young minister, now I mean, teaching the teachers, the raw teachers in Elijah Muhammad. And to this day, he's still teaching the raw teachers in Elijah Muhammad. Now I mean, but his thing is he ain't into like claiming this branch or this sect or this. You know, he was strictly the messenger teachers. A lot of people don't understand that science. Now I mean, you can love the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. You can love the Honorable Salis Muhammad, and we do. We support them. People don't. You got a lot of New Jacks that don't understand how much blood was shed. We lost our blood. I mean, we lost limbs. I mean, we was persecuted. We did decades for the protection and establishment of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. Our thing was, you're not going to kill him like y'all killed Malcolm X. We ain't talking about the streets. We ain't talking about black men. We talking about this evil-ass government. You're not killing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Know what I mean? A lot of these young cats coming in now, today they like, oh, Farrakhan, he's young boy. We would not have punched you in your mouth for saying that. We call it chewing tomatoes. You disrespect the minister. We didn't let you chew tomatoes. We put holes all in you. So when you deal with certain FOIs, you got to understand there are different types of fruit. Some brothers are sweet. Final call. Yes, I'm my beloved brother. Ooh, man. Some brothers are sour, like a lemon. You know what I mean? You know, they just militant. You know what I mean? Never smile. You know what I mean? But in that penitentiary, ain't no faking it. You in the gladiator's pit. You is what you is. You what is you, a hunter or you prey? I mean, is you a killer? You're gonna get killed. You're not surviving in there unless you're a survivor for real. All that gangster, you know, in the street, my name was so-and-so, I was moving these keys, and you getting extorted in there. Gangsters get shook down in there. Gangsters get put in helicopters and medevac to the emergency room. I mean, like, welcome to the penitentiary, America. Know what I mean? And you got them sour fruit. You know what I mean? And that's the militant, bro. But you got another classification of fruit. Actually, 3. You know what I mean? And I get into that one day later. I pull out the military manuals, wrote hundreds of military manuals. In fact, I was thinking about the other day, I was like, I gotta share with y'all something that's not from me that I just love from the my conscious Afrocentric revolutionary brothers called Spear and Shields, written by Seldom Seen. I mean, we had some fly gangster stuff going on back there. And when I say gangster, I don't mean like a thug. I mean gangster in the sense of a God star. You had to be conscious to be about this work. You know what I mean? You know, but Ali, Mahdi, and them, they was about that street life for real, for real. You know what I mean? Long story short, COINTELPRO forces, it caused a rift in the Nation of Islam. While the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically here, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's beloved minister, James Shabazz, got physically killed. And some people lost their heads. Physically. I mean, you know, things got crazy. Now, I mean, but the niyat or the intention has always been to try to better our people. I'm talking not second, I'm not talking hearsay. I'm talking, I sat down for years, decades, literally, with the so-called members of the Black Mafia. I sat down decades. I knew them for 40 years. Like I'm in a cell with them. We physically sipping tea and eating bean pies, busting it up, joking around. Now I mean, you know, they making moves. They doing that thing. You know what I mean? They men of respect. I respect them. They respect me. We build it. You know what I mean? And they're giving me the real deal on a lot of stuff that nobody even know about in this day. Outside forces don't know about. Imam Warfdi Muhammad, as I told y'all, in 1975, he came to Greatest Fort Penitentiary. He went in a cell to take over the Nation of Islam. He came to Pennsylvania and had to go inside Greatest Fort and sit down with the guards. Why? He was like, everybody's not a good brother. Everybody's not spiritual. The FBI was like, listen, in order for you to pull this off, you're going to need so. Now, if you try to do that, him by himself will come to Chicago and remove you by himself. That's what type of FOIs I know. There would have been no fall of no Nation of Islam. Not happening. It's just simply mathematically not going to happen. Now, I mean, that's how strong certain brothers and sisters with an S on it were in 1975. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always been a righteous, hardworking, faithful, dedicated student follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He loved them. His love for the messenger is so vast. If you didn't know him, to this day, I just smile within myself. When a messenger teaches, you just hear somebody, teach their holy apostle. Yes, sir, I bear witness. That's the reminder. I mean, he was the man. You know what I mean? And so you got to understand, just because we become FOI and MGT don't mean that we alter our nature. If we're in Africa, you're still going to have brothers envious and jealous of brothers. If we're playing football, everybody's not going to love the quarterback. Some people are going to be, all right, he always scoring and getting the VIP. Look at so-and-so. Look at Kobe. Look at LeBron James. You know what I mean? He's got MVP. They worked hard for that. They deserve it. I mean, but you gotta love your player haters. That's all in the struggle. But in that closet right there, I got boxes, record boxes, probably like 17 of them. Now I mean, where the FBI, the devil, revealed the documents. Like all them crack Supreme Angels talking about, all mighty FOIs, this, that you soldier with. Here's the stuff they told us about you. Here's what they tried to do to get the fuck out of jail on your back. they was going to snitch. They was going to sell y'all out. All that money y'all was making down the fort. Yeah, you know what I mean? But you never let Yakub's law divide and conquer. See, these brothers, you know, people like, you pull this card, dude. Nah, that's my brother. I love my brother. Know what I mean? Be like, yeah, what you saying might be true, might not be true. Half of it might be true, half of it. 2% of it might be true. None of it might be true. Who knows? But one thing the messenger taught me was that Dr. Yakub Malik Shabazz taught his followers, when you go back amongst the righteous people, rent rooms in their homes and start gossiping. Tell them that you heard the neighbors talking about them last night. Oh, shucks, she had sex with so-and-so. I heard such. Oh, I got some juicy tea for you. And heard such and such, blah, 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 and woo, 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 woo. And that's then they fighting and arguing and killing each other, as Lost Found Miles lesson number 1 teaches us so pointedly, and Lost Found Miles lesson number 2, that dominant and recessive idea. So we don't let Yakub's law, trick knowledge, divide and conquer, break the ranks. Our Sunni brothers tell you, when you make a salat, make sure your toes is touching. Because if the link is broke, the jinn could get through there. And a lot of our people, they let the jinn in. I mean, Malcolm said this because he got poison in his brain against his master teacher. No, Muhammad ain't the messenger no more. But for 12 years, you was teaching this man is the messenger. He showed and proved to you that he's the messenger of Allah. He's not the messenger. His son said this, and he got the women pregnant in Tainetta, and the wives and the children, is this, that, the other. And I want him to go to court and testify against him. Malcolm's like, I'm gonna go before the devil and bear witness against the honorable Elijah. Malcolm loved the messenger. The messenger loved Malcolm. But unfortunately, you get confused sometimes in the struggle. I mean, the devil is a whispering and slinking devil. He's real, like a slithering snake. I mean, he won't come overtly, but he'll cast an evil suggestion and make it a firm resolution. And then when you get it, Brother Mr. Jabril Muhammad taught us about the elements of slander. You be like, oh yeah, I heard this too. Oh yeah, and then they tell somebody else, and they add on to it till eventually the lie becomes the pure truth. Gospel. They be like, it's confirmed. Rastafari Muhammad is not God. He's a Turkish agent, and he's this, that, and the other. The Honorable Muhammad is not the messenger. It's like, come on with the nonsense. Put that stuff on the pay it no mind list. So we had brothers. We had a civil war in the Nation of Islam. You had FOIs and FOI uniforms, FOIs in suits and bow ties, MGTs wearing garbs, fighting, arguing, and physically killing each other because they left the basic premise of message to the black man in America. They let Yakub's law of divide and conquer into the ranks and began poisoning other believers against another believer. That's not the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The teaching of Honorable, we leave him alone. Do you be your way, to me be mine, G. All right, y'all, the New World gods, boo, bang. The messenger's aware that he like, I didn't mention y'all in Muhammad Speaks. I ain't slander y'all. Do y'all thing. Because if Allah's with you, nothing I can do to stop y'all. But if Allah's not with y'all, I don't care how much money and fame and numbers you got, you're going to fail. See, a lot of people think that success depends on how much cash you got, how many numbers you got. If that was the basis of the criteria for truth being confirmed, we would lose horribly. Every branch of the Nation of Islam, all combined together, are broke compared to Sunni Islam and Saudi Arabian oil money. Nation of Islam can't put $1 billion up to do nothing. All the branches of Nation of Islam can't put. Jay-Z by himself and his wife could put $1 billion up. Maybe Kanye West, maybe Kim Kardashian. Nation of Islam don't have $1 billion. We'd be like, the Million Man March, we got this, that, and the other. That's beautiful. That's 1 million conscious people hearing a divine reminder, a divine warning. But the hypocrites, the disbelievers, the devils, they be like 1 million. They be like, we had an 8 million man march at the Holy See. The Pope be like, I taught 25 million people at one time. That's why y'all got 1 million. That's Trump change. But The Pope teaching 8 million people don't mean he's teaching the truth, because numbers are not the criteria to the God on whether or not you're telling the truth. The criteria to the God and the mathematics of the God and the history of the God shows and proves, usually when a man is teaching the truth, he has a tiny, 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 tiny audience. His intent is to let it grow later. But the masses are usually under the spell of Dr. Yakub Malik Shabazz's teachings of divide and conquer. Okay? So that which you have today, as the Holy Quran says, you got to be like, look at me, I'm the man. Look at all this fruits and vegetables Allah bless me with. Then the Holy Quran says, then we send us a scorching wind. And all the trees wither, all the produce, the plants, they dry up like tumbleweeds. Everything's dead. You're like, yo, what happened? You'd be like, 1960 to 1970, the nation was doing this thing. They getting money, they famous, they getting the numbers. 5 years later, the Nation of Islam is dead. Where are we going to be 10 years from now today? Think about that. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I got like Uncle Yaya. I want y'all to know, I ordered all his books. I used to study his stuff back in the 80s. I love his brother and his sisters. You know what I mean? I disagree with on some stuff, but COINTELPRO persecuted them and used them. But I won't let the devil divide me from any branch of the Nation of Islam. I wouldn't care if you were Jan Muhammad, John Muhammad, Farrakhan, Salas, Jeremiah Shabazz, Levi Kareem, Nasir Mac. It was so many different branches of the Nation. See, people think that everybody followed Farrakhan. The majority of the followers of Elijah Muhammad follow Elijah Muhammad's teachings. That's just a statistical, mathematical reality. People don't understand that science. You know what I mean? But a lot of times, in my experience, just because a brother may follow, say, Salas Muhammad, that did not stop him from coming to Farrakhan teachings and supporting Farrakhan, you know. His thing was like, man, I'm in a situation where I'm fighting against Satan, not the devil. I'm fighting against ones whose evil doesn't just affect one's self, but affects others. I mean, we fighting against a system of oppression and tyranny. Know what I mean? So it was unity of death. Know what I mean? So we always came together. Anybody know me to tell you, like, yo, when Brother Minister Salif came to a camp, the first thing he did was consolidated all the different divisions and splinter groups. He brought them all together. Boom! Know what I mean? Tactical diplomacy. Know what I mean? I was humble and submissive. I was respectful. Know what I mean? You know, but it was like, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about our people. It's about our future. Know what I mean? You know, so I wouldn't care. We united the Moors, the 5%ers, the Pan-Africans, the revolutionaries. That was just the spirit of the moment, if you will. Know what I mean? So in that type of truth and in that type of circumstance, brother Russell Schultz, Maroon, he put me down with something. He said, "Brother Minister, let me put you down with something." He said, "I don't want to talk to you until you read this book." He said, "I'm gonna bring it to the law library." I'm like, all right. So we get to the law library, boom. Once you're in the cage, they take the handcuffs off. So he passed me the book, boom. The Maroons. I'm a FOI Nation of Islam minister at the time. I'm not down with the Maroon Society. So I'm like, yo, they gangster Captain Cujo from Jamaica. It's like people, you know me, when I get something, I'm a piece of the part. So the little book he gave me was a little thin joint, but I learned more about that than he knew when the smoke cleared. I was like, nah, it ain't Jamaica, it's Jamaica. It was the God of gods. It was It's just a deep history about Blue Mountain and how the white man took over the coffee up there. You know what I mean? And Jamaican coffee to this day is one of the premier coffees in the world. But them brothers up in the mountains, the Maroons, they're not your come to Jamaica, make it your home. No, they you dealing with the tourist section. You gotta go to the hood. I mean, you go to Jamaica, you gotta don't go where America airplane land and all that. You know, that's like somebody coming to Philly and they take you down Independence Mall. Oh, it's beautiful, the founding fathers. This is where Betsy Ross sold the flag and George Washington and the Constitution. They not take you down South Philly. They ain't take you down no Carpenter Street. They ain't take you to the projects. You definitely ain't going to go visit the Moon Gang. You ain't going down 60th Street. You ain't going down the bottom. You ain't going down North Philly. You ain't going down Jefferson Street. You ain't going down Kensington, Allegheny. They showing you the other Philadelphia. They show you the other Miami, the other Los Angeles, the other side of Atlanta. Oh, that's so beautiful. Man, America is full of hell. I mean, and they know it's full of hell. And that thing is to make sure they keep the curtain up so you won't realize you're in hell and Satan is fully in charge. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Know what I mean? It's like Dorothy's house get caught up in a tornado. Know what I mean? And when the house gets caught up in the tornado, you know, the story shows that she got this king of the jungle from Africa, but he think he's a pussycat, this cowardly lion. I mean, you know, he's like, I got to go see the mystery god. I got to go see the wizard, know what I mean, to get me some courage. I mean, you got this Tin Man, know what I mean? He on the tip like, I got to go see the wizard because I need a brain, know what I mean? And then you got this scarecrow. No, it's the scarecrow that needs the brain. The coward needs the heart or the courage. And you got the cowardly lion. Yeah, you had a cowardly lion, you had the Tin Man, and you had a scarecrow. And the scarecrow is like a FOI in the parents, meaning that if you take the Bible, like the message teaches like this, if you have a crop and that crop is growing, to keep the crows at bay, you put a scarecrow out there. You put a brother on post. And the crow's like, oh, man, we can't go down there and eat the corn because, you know what I mean, the scarecrow, the brother on doorpost, you know what I mean? But then they watching like, he ain't really built like that. I mean, he really ain't making moves like that. You know what I mean? This dude is kind of soft for real, for real. So they test him out. The crow land on his shoulder. He don't do nothing. They land on his head. Man, get that fruit. They start eating all the crop all up. Because they know that a real protector of that crop, as the message teaches us, he said, if you go out to that crop of corn, that crop of potatoes and tomatoes or what have you, and you see worms and ladybugs eating your crop, you'll kill that bug. I mean, see, brothers be like, oh, Mr. Farrakhan said the kill do this, that. But it's like, I was in the belly of the beast. Soft as butter. They ain't killing nothing. They talk that talk. Now they got, muscles. Body, everyone. But when it come to one man with one man, whack to whack, you stab him 30 times, he stab you 30 times, they ain't built like that. I mean, see, it's a totally different thing for a so-called gangster or mafiosa to jump out of a car and spray something. I mean, to shoot a joker in the back of the head in the air. That's easy stuff. Know what I mean? Are you willing to have a gunfight toe-to-toe with a man? Know what I mean? Can you kill a man with your bare hands in 9 seconds? is you built like that. I mean, that's what warfare is about. You know what I mean? So a lot of dudes, they talk that talk, but they haven't walked that walk. They put your moccasins on, they be like, yo, I could do this. Be like, all right, send them up Greene County. Be like, what's so-and-so doing? Nothing. Send them up Greene County. Send them up Greater Fort. Send them up Huntington. Send them up Pittsburgh. Like, what's so-and-so doing? Nothing. What that church doing? What that temple doing? What that mosque doing? Nothing. What they doing in the streets? Nothing. They getting money? No. They taking over the project? Yeah, fuck no. They ain't get no respect in the hood because they ain't built like that. They talk like they built like that, but for real, they not built like that. You know what I mean? And this is what Maroon was putting me down with one-on-one. And I'll never forget it. It's like 1995, 96. He asked me a question. He was like, damn, man. Let me ask you something, bro, minister. I was like, what's up? He's like, look. The Black Panther Party was talking that talk. But they wasn't walking that walk. So we formed the Walk That Walk. We wasn't running from the devils. We was hunting the devils down. And one of our comrades, he was running, he had a suitcase and he dropped it. And it bust open. And he got caught. Got captured. And they took him and some weapons of ours. And a comrade got with the devil. They were sitting in a van or whatever. And the comrade went to that van and told them, listen, you caught my brother in the struggle. Fair and square, that's all in it. Sometimes we get captured. Sometimes we get killed. Nothing I could do about that. We don't have money like that. But those guns y'all took, we want those guns back. I was looking around, what? Nigga, get the ass out of here. Get out of here. Later on, somebody ran up on that van and killed both of those devils. And as a consequence, they came at my beloved brother, Maroon, Russell Schultz. And he did decades in the penitentiary. He was up to super max. In fact, he's the one that introduced me to Assata Shakur. In fact, actually, I used to have a newsletter that we used to send worldwide, even over Cuba. Shout out to Supreme Secretary of Zoria Law, AZ, my beloved queen. She used to do unthankless, hard, persecuted work, you know what I mean? But she a ride or die goddess, and I love her to death. But, we mathematically, he was like, yo, my son going over there, Baba One, he going to Cuba, he going to hand deliver his joint to Assata. Assata sent you a personal joint. He's going to send it straight to you. My son going to bring it back over. I guess the joint straight from Assata. Touched my heart. But the thing that blew my mind, Assata Shakur told me, Islamullah, brother minister, your works are known. Your love is known and appreciated. I used to be in the Nation of Islam. I'm the type person, like, I got like Assata's Rappies books, and I mean, I got the purple books from the Belly of the Beast, like talking about even talking about Ali Mahdi. Like, he give you the history of the African struggle, like how it started, how the paddy rollers became paddy wagons or cops. They were slave catchers back in the day if you ain't had your pass. And, he break down how the fruit start killing fruit. Now, I mean, see, people going bullcrap y'all, don't want y'all to know the real history of the Nation of Islam and what it took to build this nation from 1930 to 1975. They want to give y'all the milk toast spooky stuff. It was none of that. It was the street bulls. You know what I mean? But the real guys do real things. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a pretty story. It wasn't, You know what I mean? Like we got a born with a silver spoon. We running up the spiral staircase. Nah, we going down the project steps. I mean, you be lucky if you make it through that hall in the real projects. You know what I mean? You know, so that's how that really was going down for real, for real. You know what I mean? And the God, you know, he plugged me in with the sister. You know, and he told me so. He said, you know, she is the reason women get the Ramadan in the month of December in prison. Like, what? He's like, yeah, check it out. I'm like, sure enough, I'm like, yo, Asada Shakur sued the Devils because she, as an MGT, wanted the Ramadan with the Nation of Islam in accordance with How to Eat to Live books 1 and 2 in December. And she won the case. See them little victories. People forget all that. They don't even know it. They see it with the dreadlocks, this, that. That's a beautiful sister. Now I mean, that's a, you know, it's like that type of spirit. It lifts your spirit. You know what I mean? Even when you're in hell, it's not like a cool drink of water. It transforms your hell into pure heaven. Because you're that conscious. You're vibrating on such a high plane of existence. And it brings us to our beloved brother, Ali Mahdi, and Muhammad speaks from, what's this, 1995, this particular edition. But, oh, let me turn to one of his quotes. I like, because he used to be dropping Jews. I used to, the New World Nation Islam used to drop some Jews in here. All right, here you go right here. It's for just example, just two little quotations. I don't know if y'all can see that there, but I'm going to read them. One says, Ali Mahdi Muhammad has taught for 30 years that Mr. Muhammad is Allah. He has spent many years in prison. He has suffered rejection from his own people at Mosque number 25, but he never stopped teaching Elijah. Now, the FOI under the general banner of the Nation of Islam used to go to war with the FOIs that was with Ali Mahdi Muhammad. And brothers get stabbed. You got FOI stabbing FOI. They ain't doing nothing to the guards, nothing to the devil. But they would kill your behind on sight. Now, I mean, that wasn't out of hatred, envy, and jealousy. That was a COINTELPRO or counterintelligence program plot by feeding technology in the ranks, poisoning the minds of the believers, and the devil steps back. Satan steps back and laughs as he whispered into the hearts of the men. You know what I mean? They like, what? He did what? Oh, we'll kill that man. Ah! Like, yo, my man, you got life without parole. You doing 20 years. You ain't trying to get out of here. You ain't escaping. You ain't going after the guard. You forgive all this Caucasian oppression against our people. Rape, robbery, and murder for 6,000 years. But you're going to kill your own brother on sight. Get your buckeye behind out the way, man. You in the way with that 85% easily leading to the wrong direction technology. Then he explained, it is clear that the followers of the Honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad didn't understand his teachings, because if they did, they would not have blindly followed Wallace into Sunni Islam. See, a lot of people overlook that. Here you got 70,000 people bear witness to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad in one place. Thousands of people at Savior's Days all over the country. Then as soon as the man dies, oh, I ain't never believe that shit anyway. What? Oh, wait a minute. Y'all was saying, y'all live, build, who we live for? Muhammad. We build for Muhammad. You know what I mean? Fight, O ye Muslim. Fight for your own. Why you ain't fighting? You talking about fighting, but you ain't fighting. You ain't throwing a rock. You ain't bust a bubble. You ain't even throwing a rock at the rock fight. Like, yo, my man, this isn't a joke. You had FOIs back in the 60s on top of cars with guns for the liberation of black people. I'm talking about FOI. You had FOIs in the 30s, like, yo, it's on. I mean, the devil is the devil. They like, yeah, I mean, you brothers is like, brothers in LA, like, oh, Malcolm, like, the police shot up the temple. They did this. They killed Troy X. Wade, this, that, and the other. The Holy Quran is like, retaliation in Madison is prescribed. The message is like, what's understood doesn't have to be explained. He's like, Malcolm wanted me to give him orders to do so. He said, when the brother got killed, this is the messenger talking, he explained how when Fruit got killed out Los Angeles, Malcolm got on the phone and called the messenger house, called him personally. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. They all the apostle, the devil's killed a believer, this, that, and the other. You want me to take the brothers out there and retaliate? The messenger said he had to take the phone away from his ear. He in there talking to the photographer, Gordon Parks. He talking to Gordon Parks, I believe it was. He talking to Gordon Parks, the famous photographer for Ebony and, you know, the Nation of Islam. He was like a black pioneer when it came to photographs. The messenger, he said, I had to take the phone from my ear and look at the phone like, is he serious? I mean, he's like, nah, brother. Go down there with the Muhammad speech and teach freedom, justice, and equality. He hung the phone up. They like, yo, it's Gordon Parks like, yo, what's that about? He said, Malcolm just called me talking about the police killed the Fruit in Los Angeles. He want me on a phone that he know Satan has bugged. He listen to everything I'm saying. Like, they listen to everything. They listen to me while I'm talking to y'all. Y'all, you think the likes, that's from the devil. That's from the 10%, the rich, the slave makes for the poor. I ain't stupid. Know what I mean? But I'm fearless. I ain't no loose cannon either. But it's all on. They plot and plan. We got to plot and plan. We got to unite. They united. Know what I mean? And so the message is basically like, I don't know if he wasn't aware or he was just scared. Most likely he was just scared. See, a lot of times, I'm in this one Fruit. We sell these, and he's always coming. I'm gonna kill so. So I'm like, what's the problem? You know, I talk him down, this, that, and the other. But after living with him, I was like, this dude is one of them dudes that say and do not. You know what I mean? So one day, brother, he talking about Fruit mostly, you know what I mean? But he ready to kill somebody I would say 2-3 times a week. He ready to get his jaw and sharpen it up and kill something. So I'm like, if you built like that, you're not going to sharpen your jaw. You're going to keep your jaw sharp and keep your jaw on you at all times. You're going to have your black bag with you. I mean, so that spooky stuff, I don't pay that stuff no attention. In the belly of the beast, all in these streets. I mean, I move as a solo soldier. I mean, but I called him on that crap one day. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, all right, what you telling me for? Handle your business. He gets quiet. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of that in the morning. Yo, my man, that's too much information. I ain't your rappy. I mean, you're a grown-ass man. Handle your business. That's small stuff. I handle my business plenty of times. Handle your business. You know what I mean? Next morning, he go out there in the yard. He comes back in. Brother Minister, I was thinking about something you said. And yeah, he ain't do nothing. He talked it out. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't really built like that. But I've been around FOIs built like that. And they don't say anything to me. I got to come calm them down. Like, yo, fall back. What is you know what I mean? You're like, yo, man, it's on. You know what I mean? It is what it is. They just move out. You know what I mean? They ain't taking no names. They ain't asking no questions. You know what I mean? They ain't rallying the troops. They ain't doing no hype stuff trying to get you to come with them. They like, by myself, I'm going to see 10 dudes by myself in this yard. Because I'm built like that. I fear no one but Allah. I respect that. You know what I mean? Win, lose, or draw. They don't always win. I mean, but they built like that for real. You know what I mean? So men recognize men. Guys recognize guys. Diamonds polish diamonds. Steel sharpens steel. This is all in the struggle. So you got to beware of those wanksters, as 50 Cent put it. I mean, you know, that talk and don't walk that walk. You know what I mean? Not realizing that the opposition that they talking about can literally send a signal, a letter, and touch them. It'd be like a magician. Make them disappear. But out of love for the messenger teachings, out of love for our nation, we always seek unity. Now, I mean, even if you take slings and you got to do that sometimes, even with your own sisters, your own brothers, you just got to take that. Now, I mean, you know, because it's not about us. It's about our people. Now, I mean, we live for the people, by the people, through the people. So our sacrifices got to be for our people. And sometimes, you know, to prevent a civil war, you got to bite the bullet. And that's why I respect the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He could have easily caused a civil war in the Nation of Islam with Wallace. But who knows how that would have mathematically played out. I know for a fact, because of the belly of the beast, it would have been like, let me see, like a 40, 50-year civil war where former followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad fighting the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I mean, or different branches killing each other and all that stuff. So the devil tried that, but by the wisdom of the law, he threw the wisdom or the water on the fire instead of gasoline, and it was able to smother it and put it out and cool it out some. You know what I mean? But I would be here all day with this, but this March 29th Truth article is part 6. Now, when it comes to the teaching of Elijah Muhammad, you want to try to see this is one of the things I literally had to do as a minister, because I was not there in the 1930s, 1940s and 50s and all that. I mean, so you literally have all these pioneers teaching hadiths. Oh, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me this. He said this. He said, so it's like, I don't know what to believe. Like, you got, when Master Muhammad left, you got this branch of the Nation of Islam over here. You got another branch of the Nation of Islam over here. Master Muhammad's supreme captain, Khalat, turned against his own biological brother, the big bro, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He formed his own joint over here. So you got all these different fractions, and they all have literature directly from Master Muhammad. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't understand, in the 1930s, some of these branches' position and argument was, Master Muhammad made me a minister when Elijah Muhammad was still Elijah Poole and mentally dead. He wasn't even a believer yet. And I'm a minister on a rostrum teaching the teachings of the Nation of Islam. So they had egos in play. You know what I mean? So they had opposition. They started arguing, fighting, and killing each other, chasing each other all over the place. You know what I mean? You know, but the thing that intrigued me was, where's that old literature from the 1930s? I mean, so I used to pay a lot of, me and brother minister Kareem Allah Troy X David, we got in a fight with the police and they beat us while we was handcuffed. Long story short, we settled out of court for $8,000. So I got a couple of dollars on my books. This is from like 1987 or somewhere around there. So I got a little money. So I'm like, okay, I'm ordering all the messenger books. I got you know, so I'm paying for literature. And I'm like, yo, give me all that different branches. I don't care. Solace Fruit, subscribe to Silas Muhammad, subscribe to all the Silas books, subscribe to all the Farrakhan stuff. I want all Jeremiah. Get the Muhammad Speaks in Philly from Minister Jeremiah. Get the 5%. Get the Son of Man newsletter. I want G. Kaleem stuff. I want I forgot the brother name, the God under the Nation of Gods and Earth. Prince. I want all Prince Cuba. The struggle, my 30-year struggle for freedom, justice. I had all that stuff. Now I mean, I didn't care what branch you make. I had all the Black Panther stuff, all the Maroon Society stuff, all the revolutionary stuff. Now I mean, you know, the white boy Billy that was on America's Most Wanted that escaped from like 2-3 different jails to speak like 5 different languages and all that stuff. That was my cellie. Now I don't, you know, back then I ain't had white cellies, but my defense minister, Theodore Bay, brother Minister Abdullah, he trained me. Like I'm in the cell where he's like, brother, never let the devil see you sleep. So I'm like, yo, this dude shout out. This is one of them old school Death Angels. He's one of them brothers. Like, I used to come to the gate. He's in the hole. I used to come to the gate and bring him little stuff. And you can't go to the gate from another block. So the guard be like, you gotta go, young man. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm like, you gotta go now. And the defense minister be like, yo, come here. He don't go until I let him go. If I don't tell him to go, he don't go nowhere. All right. And I'm like, damn, the guard's scared of this dude. But he always had a bald head, no eyebrows, pitch black little round glasses. He had all these potholes in his face. He was the most meanest, tallest, ruthless, killer-looking fruit I've ever seen in my life. Love that dude to death. He came home. He became Luke Miles, Kenny Gamble personal bodyguard. This dude was just built like that. I remember one time we was taking a shower. He had like bullet holes going all the way across his whole body. He got shot with machine guns and it's just ridiculous. Now I mean, this dude was a warrior for the Nation of Islam. You know what I mean? But I'm in the hut with him, and his thing is, brother, we eat 1 meal a day, vegetarian. We never let the devil see us sleep. So it literally was like this. I had to be fully dressed with my boots on, and I had to put sunglasses on, and I had to rest on my back. So I'll be laying down, getting some Z's. He's physically on his feet. He might be at the sink washing socks, reading his Message to the Black Man, studying lessons. But every time that guard walked past that hut, the lights was on, and we was up. I might get an hour or two rest, then I gotta take post while he rests. But they never, this like, keep us a couple of years, they never seen us sleep ever. You know what I mean? It was real deal. You know what I mean? And when he tell me, if he hint at anything, I'ma handle it. I mean, that's how his training used to be. I love him. I love Brother Supreme Captain Calvin, Brother Malik. Now I mean, them brothers were like my fathers, my big brothers. You know what I mean? You know, they was like faithful, loyal lovers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the messenger. Them brothers suffered so much, people don't understand. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, we had all kind of setbacks, disappointments, persecutions, betrayals, but we loved each other and we loved the brotherhood and the sisterhood. You know what I mean? That was just genuine like that. You know what I mean? And you know, going through that kind of stuff, you don't realize how it prepares you for your life's work. It prepares you for this day and time in which we are now. You know what I mean? You know, it's like it's like when you go through hell and survive, and then somebody put you in the desert, in the freezing mountain in Mount Everest, in a swamp, you'd be like, man, this is child's play. It's easy. I mean, this ain't about nothing. You know what I mean? Like, man, we did 30 years in this joint. You know what I mean? We had 100 knife fights. That's this, like, Like these young boys talking this game. Like, man, come on, man. This is corny. I mean, like men don't do that. I mean, like literally, like growing up, they pull a gun on you. The first thing you say, "Kill me." I mean, like we ain't afraid to die as a mentally dead. Now we got knowledge of self. Now we scared. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. You know what I mean, it don't happen like that. You know what I mean? But Allah knows best. You know what I mean? So in shepherdizing all this literature, you know, I want you to be conscious that we were studious with the teachers in Elijah Muhammad. We was like what you would call religious zealots, fanatical. You know what I mean? Like it was that serious. Now I mean, the day I got out the Belly of the Beast, physically, the day I'm brother Minister Rashi, Supreme Angel FA came to get me, my little sister Naima, and my wife Malika. Them three come get me. Boom. We're going home. I'm so alien to this side of the world that I'm sick as a dog. They rushed me to the emergency room the day I came home. The messenger said in How to Live that when he got out the belly of the beast, him and other believers got sick because they wasn't used to eating the food out here. It was worse for me. When I got out, they pulled up at the gas station to get some gas. I'm not used to smelling gas. I'm like, yo, y'all don't smell the pollution. Y'all, what's the toxic? They like, what? It's no, we're at the gas station. It's like physically killing me. I'm such a perfectionist with the teaching of Elijah Muhammad back then. I mean, supreme discipline was our thing. The doctor, he come to my wife and explained to her, he's like, listen, I never seen this except in third world countries. She was like, what? My wife been a registered nurse for 30 years, so she know medical stuff too. So like his ketones or whatever crap they basically were saying my blood, I'm what you call O positive. I have O positive blood. I'm what you call a universal donor. My blood can clot to A blood, B blood, negative blood. My blood unite with anyone on the earth. I'm the original man for real, for real. You know what I mean? 6'1", 150 pounds, as Master Muhammad said in the problem book. I mean, but I was fasting so much, he said my body literally was eating itself. He was like, yo, when was the last time you ate, young man? I was like, I just been fasting. I mean, I was eating 4 times a month. I mean, like this week, the next week. I mean, I wasn't starving myself. I was fasting. You know what I mean? I was experimenting with that. And there was no problem for years building like that, studying, experimenting with high explosive. That's what we used to do. But on this side of the gate, where they got toxins and car emissions and just pollutants, it's fast food, it's chemicals all in. I mean, like when you're in the mountains, like say SCI Rockview, that prison is so big, it'd take you an hour to get off the prison ground in a car. It's like, as far as you can see, is garlic, carrots, tomatoes, apples, pears, whatever. They're so huge, they have a contract with the Libby Corporation, and they got a cannery factory where they make canned pears, fruits and vegetables or produce for professional supermarkets all over the world, basically, to give you some idea. So we're eating healthier food. We're drinking mountain spring water. You know what I mean? You know, it's like your body is detoxing. We're not breathing. So when they take you to court, before you get to the city of Philadelphia, you get nauseated like, yo, what the f-? And the guards laugh because they be like, that's the smell of Philadelphia. You be like, yo, Philly don't realize all the pollution. Like, that, you know, if you from Philly, West Philly, South Philly, especially South Philly, that's where they had, like, they used to burn the stuff and oh man, it was just toxic to the mud. But somebody that was up in clean mountain air for like 10, 20 years, 30 years, come back to that, you be like, yo, y'all living in hell for real. I mean, and it's like being in a bubble. And it's like, you gotta pollute your temple. And I polluted my temple. And I like right now I could eat basically anything now. I can smell anything now. I mean, because I didn't have so much poison since I've been out this joint. I'm like, I'm immune to the crap now. It's in my system. I mean, but I'm being fictitious, but it's a real thing. You know what I mean? It's a real thing. So part of the messenger's original teachings is based on his writings. Now, I want to give a shout out to my beloved brother, Minister Nasir Makir at Secretary Mimps. Those of you that may not be aware of the Genesis year, not just the Genesis year, I just want to give credit where credit is due. There's a lot of brothers that, like, my number one big bro is the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, Salas Muhammad, Jeremiah Shabazz, Levi Kareem out Detroit. It's like, it's certain things that brothers and sisters do in the struggle that's bigger than them. It's bigger than us. It's critical to our future. So it lets me know that that's the will of Allah, not a mystery God. You know what I mean? So sometimes we don't realize that Allah works through the believers. You know what I mean? You know, and Secretary Mimps and the Coalition for Religion for the Remembrance of Elijah, and a lot of people are like, well, he took and denied the white man the devil. It's like, politics aside, if you're trying to get in position, and I mean, it's like, you know, Messer teach us in our lesson 17 Ways for the Islamic Culture about Niyah. He said actions are judged by intentions. Actions may appear wrong, but motives bring reward. So, brother Munir and all them, I never really got caught up in the hype of the individual fumbles and stumbles that we all do. The thing that I know, Birth of a Nation, 1958 Savior's Day, they preserved that, recorded that. I wasn't in 1958. I'm in a cell reading word for word the 1958 Savior's Day by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Honestly, I probably read it like 100 times over the years. You know what I mean? So I was able to get in my spiritual DNA the direct teachings of Master Muhammad the Messenger, because brothers preserve those records. I got the old final calls to Islam from the 30s. I got countless personal letters from the messenger, handwritten letters from Master Muhammad, all kind of literature. And in my head, I'm a mathematician. So in my head, I'm like studying these lessons and manuals and all that stuff. I'm writing countless books and manuals and military stuff. We do our thing. But when you shepherdize it, meaning that when you understand law, and I went to Black's Law School. I mean, people don't realize prisoners become lawyers technically. Now, I mean, they get a certificate like, yeah, you practice, like, we know how to do writ of habeas corpus, post-conviction relief acts, lawsuits, bankruptcies. That's how I was able to teach all this stuff about credit. I learned all that stuff 40 years ago. Now, I mean, credit, nonprofits, LLCs, S Corps, C Corps, B Corps, business in general. Now, I mean, I always, the message to the black man, get business minded. So part of our training and teaching is economics. You know what I mean? I don't work for the devil. You know what I mean? I ain't never in my life worked for the devil, really. You know what I mean? As a man, you know what I mean? But say what you may, but you be like, how the heck this dude is never broke? It ain't no mystery. I mean, I ain't worried with no spooky. I will not sit at home and wait for that mystery guy to bring me no food. I know my lessons. I study them lessons. I live those lessons. I share them lessons. Know what I mean? But in shepherdizing the teaching of Elijah Muhammad, it helps you. I can't do it. I don't have the resources or the manpower, the woman power, or the mental acumen and intelligence and organizational skills. I'm all over. I do 1,000 different things. Before I made this video, 5 minutes before I just was outside cutting the grass. I just got finished painting the house. I just had to take my mother-in-law to the hospital. You know what I mean? I do all kinds. I might be cutting my hair, cut my wife's hair. You know what I mean? So, so it's like I'm all over the place. You know what I mean, and it's a blessing and a curse because I'm a workaholic. I was up 3 o'clock this morning. You know what I mean? I fell asleep on the couch. We was watching Wu-Tang the Saga. You know what I mean? I love that show. But we watching Wu-Tang and I fell asleep. I woke up like an hour or two later. My wife is watching Sister Minister Ava Muhammad teach. She gave a lecture. She told me the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did a memorial, I believe she said, for the beloved sister. Shout out to our beloved sister, mentor, and warrior, Sister Ava Muhammad. I loved her the first time I read an article from her. The first, before you had the beautiful colored Final Call newspaper, before they had the beautiful professional Final Call press, Minister Farrakhan them struggling to put the teachers back together and lift the flag. They had the Final Call of Islam like the Messenger had in the 30s. It was a newsletter, not on, it was a newsletter like this. The only real difference was it wasn't on 8 by, what's this, 8 by 10, 8 by 11 paper. It was on a long legal paper. And like 1983, I get the Final Call of Islam from the branch of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and it's an article in there by MGT, Sister Ava Muhammad. I'll never forget it. It's like 83 to 85. The title of her article is Set at Liberty the Captive Believer. 24 Principles of Islam by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. I'm like, yo, who is she? Yo, you guys I made all these copies, send it everybody. Young brothers come from other camps. Y'all need this up there. Everybody like, yo, she's. Now I mean, this was our hip hop back then. Now I mean, literature was like, you know how you be like, you want to hear Jay-Z new song, you want to hear, Beyonce new album with her. That's how we was like, yo, I got the 5%er. That one paper is going to go through thousands of people, thousands, literally thousands of different people. I'm going to make a copy. Let so-and-so get a copy. So-and-so going to want to read it. I'm going to let him read it. That one paper is going to go around to all the brothers in my circle, then go outside our circle. Everybody making copies, sending copies home to our family and friend members. But it was like the underground black press. I mean, and that's why so much literature that a lot of people is not aware of from all the different branches of the Nation of Islam. I mean, I'm thankful to them brothers and sisters that sacrifice, and I salute our beloved sister, Minister Ava Muhammad, for her. Me and my wife was just listening about an hour ago to her. She's like, "Oh, you got to hear this part." She's breaking down Thomas Jefferson and going deep into how the old white men wanted the black woman, and how the white women was lusting after the black men, I mean, and stuff like that. There was, truth confirmed, stuff we already know intuitively, instinctively, but it was, I just love that sister. She reminded me of a female Dr. Khalid for the Nation of Islam. She was like Sister Tanetta Muhammad was like a female messenger. Like she was just like scholarly. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this sister's deep. You know what I mean? Jabril Muhammad is like scholar. Certain people is just boom. Like no one is more eloquent than the reminder. Farrakhan is that boy. You know what I mean? You just can't take that from him. You know what I mean? Silas is just the king on the throne. He's the God. It's like you can't take that from him. Jeremiah is just the streets. You can't take that from him. The father was the streets, the hood. Now I mean, them lessons. Now I mean, even in the Wu-Tang joint, that's why I was like, they was dropping all these jewels all in this joint, and you know, it's like, you know, you take the best parts. Now I mean, it just casts off the negative parts. But me being, you know, I'm into the scholarly stuff. So I'm thankful to our beloved brother Ali Mahdi, because brother Minister Nasir in the early years, when he was first starting out, he used to always send letters out and ask people to donate original videos, tapes, films, albums, articles, Muhammad Speaks, whatever, anything directly from Messenger Elijah Muhammad, so he could shepherdize all that stuff. That's a hard job right there, especially with the message teachers. It's just all over the place. You got teachers everywhere, but it's not. It's to in 2022. It's still not shepherdized. It's still not in chronological order. It's going to take a lot of money and a lot of people and a lot of computer work. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, because technology is something. They just was able to go through a man's neck and put something in his brain, and he can now use Bluetooth and send text and use a computer, and he's paralyzed. So technology goes in leaps and bounds. So I'm not sure what the future holds. Most likely than not, people from around the world might be able to simply just download, take a picture of literature, scan it, whatever way they have in the future, and the computer shepherdize it instantly and chronologically sort it all out, compress the file, and it comes out as a new Holy Quran. That's the, you know, like my thing always been for 40 years is to take the messenger's book in chronological order. You'll see this in my books that I wrote back in the 80s. You know what I mean? I wrote like 90, over 100 books. You know what I mean? But back in the 80s, I was teaching the Supreme Wisdom Book 1, Supreme Wisdom Book 2, Flag of Islam 1957, Message of the Black Man in America 1965, Hadith to Live Book 1. Take all the messenger books in chronological order and compile them into one book. Like this, like you got a Quran or a Bible, you got all the messages teach right there. Now, I mean, that's what the youth need. They need all. You be like, turn to chapter 3. Chapter 3. Oh, that's Hadith to Live Book 2. I mean, turn to chapter 7. Oh, so that's I'll save as a Rav. You know what I mean? You know, so just making sure that they don't change the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I mean, we preserve those teachings. So I salute Secretariat Mims Publications for doing that. You know what I mean? So this is the Genesis years, unpublished rare writings of Elijah Muhammad, Messenger of Allah, from 1959 to 1962. Now, in this particular volume here, I shepherdize this. Hold up, let me check something I didn't really think about it just now. Okay, yeah. All right. This is when he has this book copyright. I don't know if y'all can see it. 2003 and 2005. So basically 15 years ago, the public got this information. That's 15 years ago. All right. 27 years ago, this is what the prisoner Ali Mahdi was doing. The exact same work, except him being a FOI in the so-called first resurrection or what have you. The prisoners have, see, when the Nation of Islam fell in 1975, it's 1975, Minister Farrakhan becomes Abdul Halim. He becomes Orthodox. Wallace becomes Imam Wafdi Muhammad. He becomes Orthodox. Jeremiah Shabazz becomes Jeremiah Shaheed Muslim Shabazz. He becomes Orthodox. Everybody following the Sunnah. Everybody's like, oh, we ain't working with Master Muhammad is not God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not the messenger of Allah. We ain't with no Nation of Islam stuff. We Bilalians now. We the world community of Islam in the West. Whatever. Now, I mean, the nation's gone. All right. You still had a remnant. You still had FOIs and MGTs that left the spooky fruit. It was like, I'm sticking with the teachers of Honorable Elijah. I don't know what y'all talking about. My minister told, I'm disobeying him. I'm disobeying her. I'm sticking with Master Farmer. We're going to continue to pray in the name of the Lord came the person of Master Farmer Muhammad in this house. We still bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the first, last, and only messenger of Allah in this house. You know what I mean? So you had believers that never, ever followed Imam Wafdi Muhammad. 99% of them did. But you had that little tiny fraction of faith. Now, when all this confusion and bitter is going on, the works of the Father of Law shows and proves themselves. The nation of God's earth, then known as the 5% nation, they still had the lessons. So as the devil's plan, as COINTELPRO was plotting and planning, that's from Muhammad 24 scientists. All right, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Go ahead and spark that young boy right there. Know what I mean? Clarence 13X. Know what I mean? Let him, he can't take over Malcolm. He can't be under Malcolm. Let him go do an independent thing. Take that good piece of fruit, get it off the tree, and let it hit the ground and bust open. And the seed going to germinate the earth. He going to grow a brand new tree with beautiful fruit all on it. Know what I mean? Thinking like gods. See, y'all be on some spooky stuff. Know what I mean? Cause and effect, actions and reactions. It's all mathematics. So mathematically, while the Nation of Islam, FOI and MGTs is throwing their uniforms in trash cans and MGT throwing their garbs away, and they, as Wallace put it, he was like, put down my father's books and throw away your lessons. Ain't no more FOI. Ain't no more MGTs in the Nation of Islam. You would think in this day and time, like, what? I mean, God forbid something happened to the Honorable Minister Farrakhan of Solace. We're not going to put down the teachers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad because all the stuff that happened in the past. And this is why the Nation of Islam was prophesied to rise, then fall. Rise, then fall. Then rise, and never fall again. It's like the universe, it's just ever expanded. You know what I mean? Wisdom is independent of anyone. You know what I mean? Because we're going to keep Master Farrakhan Muhammad, Allah and his messenger out front. So that premise or that basis is the basis for a whole new world black order. Now, I mean, it has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with our little branches, nothing to do with our little tiny whatever, but in the universal order of things. This universal Nation of Islam we're talking about, they're going to appreciate the service and sacrifice the early pioneers made for them. You know what I mean? So, in my research on all this, I don't want to give you no scholarly stuff and backstory, but the short version is like this. This is the truth, part 4. All right. This is March the 15th, 1962. All right. Now, the next chapter or the next article on the truth is the truth has come. May 2nd, 1959. Got another truth type stuff. We got truth is confirmed. So the message there basically did all these articles on truth. However, even though you may not find something in a scholarly work in the belly of the beast, we got the unedited, original, raw teachings, war teachings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, the truth, from March the 29th, 1962, by Elijah Muhammad. This is part 6. So I'm going to share with y'all this article from Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Load up.